This is a Swiss Army knife. You can use it to cut through objects, you can even saw something, you can use it as a screwdriver, and there is even a cork opener in this. It's not as powerful as a hammer or a screwdriver, yet you will find it quite useful in many scenarios. Over the past 18 years, I have worked across a number of databases. And one thing I hate about learning a new database is having to learn a new tool to interact with this database. And that's where DBeaver comes to the rescue. You see, DBeaver is a lot like your Swiss Army knife. It may have a small footprint, but it has a lot of features that are packed into it. And in this video, I'm going to convince you why you should learn DBeaver, especially if you're a database developer. So what is a database client? A database client is an application that you use to connect to a database and then run your queries. Usually, database clients have a graphical user interface or a GUI. Let's look at some popular examples here. On the right side, you will see a list of popular databases such as PostgreSQL, SQL Server, Oracle, and MySQL. And on the left side, you will see the corresponding database client GUIs that have been developed by these individual vendors. So PostgreSQL has pgadmin, SQL Server has SSMS or SQL Server Management Studio, Oracle has Oracle SQL Developer, and then MySQL has MySQL Workbench. So the list of applications that you see on the left side are popularly referred to as database clients with GUI. So if there are database clients already built for each of these database servers, why do we still need to use DBeaver? I mean, what are the benefits of using DBeaver? Let's find out. The first reason that I want to begin with is the cross-platform support. What this means is that DBeaver as an application is available across all the popular operating systems such as Windows, Linux, or even Mac. This means that developers who are comfortable in a particular operating system do not have to switch from it to use this DBeaver. I mean, they can continue to use their current operating system that they are familiar with, that they are comfortable with, still continue to use DBeaver. And if they decide to switch to a different operating system, rest assured that they don't have to relearn DBeaver. This, in my perspective, is a big advantage. The second reason for using DBeaver is the huge number of databases that they support. I mean, you can look at this picture. This is the current version and it supports up to 120 databases. If your organization is using a database, any database, pretty sure it's already supported by DBeaver. This also ensures that while your project changes from one database to the other due to whatever reasons, you as a developer, you still get to keep the same database client, which is DBeaver. So you have put in a couple of months and you're very familiar with DBeaver. Rest assured, it's going to serve you for the next couple of years, even if your databases keep changing. The third reason is intuitive UI. You see, the interface of DBeaver is pretty developer friendly. If you're coming from a different database client such as pgadmin or SQL Server Management Studio, you will feel right at home. You see, all of the things that you could do in your other database clients like pgadmin and SQL Server Management Studio, you can do all of those in DBeaver and much more as well. And all of the options, they just feel right. I mean, you find them where you expect them to be. Using the DBeaver interface, you can do basic things like editing a table, adding columns, looking at the data type, exporting the DDL of, let's say, a function, or even editing data, viewing data, and so on and so forth. DBeaver also has some utilities through which you can administer your database, such as taking backups, doing restores, copying data from one database to the other database, and even uploading files through DBeaver into the database. For a developer to learn all these features and use them, it takes very little time, and it has a consistent experience across the tool. The fourth reason for using DBeaver is it's free and open source. So the software is maintained by a lot of volunteers across the world who are really passionate in terms of making a database developers' lives easier and easier with every new version. And they're pretty active. You can see every week almost there is a release with some bug fixes or some new features that are constantly being added. You can always start your journey with using the DBeaver Community Edition. If at all you feel you need some more advanced features, if you have a bigger team in your organization, that is when they have a professional version as well, which you can upgrade to. But sharing my experience, I've been using DBeaver open source or the Community Edition for a number of years. I never had a reason to upgrade to the Pro version because the Community Edition itself has every feature that I want. The fifth reason for using DBeaver is the number of extensions. So just like you have an Android marketplace where you have a lot of apps that you can download, you can do the same with DBeaver. You see, DBeaver has extensions. One popular extension these days is the integration with ChatGPT, which means if you have an open API key. You can embed that within DBeaver, and this can be used to convert your natural language into SQL. So this is just one example of the various integrations that are available within DBeaver. And once again, just like its features, the number of extensions are growing day by day. To summarize, DBeaver is a very popular and quite useful cross database client. You should definitely learn that so you can avoid learning a dozen other tools. It has a lot of features that are quite often found in expensive and licensed products. If you're someone who's just beginning to learn databases, then include DBeaver as part of your learning curriculum. The sooner the better, because DBeaver can be a bit overwhelming at the beginning, but trust me, it is worth every bit. Once you use DBeaver, you're not going back to any other database client. That I'm pretty sure about. So that's all I had to share in this video. As someone who has been working with DBeaver for the past couple of years, I really wanted to share this knowledge with the rest of the database community so that you find it as useful as I did. I'm going to follow up on this topic with more videos on how to install DBeaver and how to use some important features of DBeaver, such as importing a file, exporting a file, copying from one database to the other, and many other useful features. So stay tuned. And if you want to know when I upload the new videos, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification icon. I'll see you in my next video. Thank you.